to bring you along this morning while I'm prepping getting Maggie ready. The guys are outside working in the yard, so it's just me and her in the house. So she'll spend the day with me while they're working. It's too hot out there for both of us. But I'm gonna go ahead and start kind of getting her ready. We got a few things we're gonna do today. So right now I'm just getting Maggie's breakfast ready. She's laying in the bed. She's awake, but she's laying there playing with her hair, kissing on her doll, all that good stuff. But I'm just gonna get her breakfast ready. So in the mornings, Maggie eats chicken nuggets. She has 5 chicken nuggets and some cereal, sometimes a banana. But this is what she likes to eat, and this is the part of the day where she feeds herself. So it's just easy little finger foods. We cut the nuggets up, and then she has her little cereal, and that's what she eats in the mornings. So those will start. And we just kind of prep as we go. She's very routine. So this is her morning routine that she knows. Everything gets put on the tray the exact same way every day. And if you put something like, here, let me show you. So that's her tray. If you switch that cup and that chicken and put them on opposite sides, as soon as you put the tray in front of her, she will switch them back to the correct way. We do switch up her cereal. Today she eats some sort of fruit. It tastes like Fruit Loops, but it's in shapes of fruit. That's what she likes. Just a little of it. Dry, of course. So one of the things I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go ahead and prep my cucumbers for the bread and butter pickles, because they do have to sit in the refrigerator for like 2 hours with salt on them. So we're going to go ahead and prep those. So I'm going to use my Ball Blue Book Guide to Preserving. Page 78 is a recipe for bread and butter pickles. So that's what we're going to go with. With the cucumbers, we're going to cut up into slices, and some onion also. We're going to put them in a bowl, put some salt on them. We're going to use pickling salt, and then let them sit in the fridge for 2 hours. We're going to drain them and rinse them in cold water after that. I want to weigh my cucumbers first because I know I don't have enough. So the recipe calls for 4 pounds of cucumbers. I only have like 1.5 pounds, so we're definitely going to cut this back. But I want to go ahead and use them because they won't last much longer. Yep, look at this minute, they're still cooking. I know, Daddy's outside. He's cutting the grass. He's cutting down our beautiful dandelion field. I love you. All right, give me a minute, it's still cooking. So her nuggets will be ready in a few minutes. We'll cut those when they're ready. So while we're still waiting on that, we're gonna get these cucumbers and onions in brine. So we'll cut our ends off. And these are just like, I think they're like little German mini cucumbers. They're not pickling cucumbers, but you can use them. We've actually used them to make some dill pickles before, and they were delicious. And I cut her each nugget up into like 9 pieces, so they're small for her to eat with her fingers. I'm gonna give Maggie her breakfast. Where's your chicken? Where's he at? Silly girl. I'm gonna get these finished cutting up. But full disclosure, this week has been a rough week. Mac has been like in a manic mode all week. He's been all over the place. He's been somewhat aggressive and just really trying to get under everybody's skin. He didn't sleep for 3 days, and he takes medicine to help him sleep, like prescribed medicine to help him sleep, but he was still not sleeping. He was staying up all night long. So it has been a rough week, just trying to keep the patience and not lose our cool, but it's very difficult. Yesterday was extremely rough. I was almost to the point of an anxiety attack. he was just that, I can't even explain it. He was everywhere, all the time, loud, like in your face, just obsessive. It's just been rough the last few days. I'm not really certain what's going on, because he takes medicine. I make sure that he takes the medicine, and so I really don't know what's going on, but it's kind of got us at our wits' end. We even checked to see if it was a full moon, because those days are super fun with both kids. They're both very affected by the full moon. So the reason why we're doing this is, you know, bread and butter pickles have like almost a signature color and texture. You know, when you're doing regular dill pickles, you don't, you know, soak them in salt or brine them in salt. You just load the raw cucumbers into the jars, pour your brine over them, and can them. With these, to get that bright, vibrant color, that's why you put them in the salt, and it kind of shrivels them up a little bit and gives them that interesting texture. They're very bright green, and then when you do the brine, you add the turmeric, and it gives them that very chartreuse color. I'm a big fan of bread and butter pickles. Of course, I love dill the most, but I do love a bread and butter pickle. Patrick is not a fan. I hope that he at least tries these. But I love all pickles, honestly, any kind. Our cucumbers are not ready yet. We've just started to get our first few on the plants. These are actually some that someone gave us. We'd like to eat them in salads too, but there was a bunch of them, and I knew we couldn't eat them before they went bad. So bread and butter as it is. We did some dill spears with these the last time we got them, and they are very good. In fact, I told him that maybe we need to grow some of these next year, because I like the texture of them. When we make dill pickles, we always add pickle crisp to the jars to keep the pickles from being mushy. This recipe does not call for that. Apparently doing them in the salt keeps them from getting mushy. Next I'm going to do my onion up. Now the cucumbers, I sliced maybe 1/4 inch thick. Not too thin, not too thick. Are those nuggets yummy? She will get a whole handful, and then she slowly adds one at a time to her mouth. She's a silly girl. Are you silly? Are you silly? Super silly. So I'm just going to cut this onion in quarters, and then I'm going to cut them in little slices. Got them all in my bowl here. All right, it says cover them with ice cubes. We're not doing that. We're just going to put them in the fridge. I'm just going to toss them around in here. I'm going to cover it with saran wrap. So these are going to go in the fridge for 2 hours, and then when they're done, then we'll bring them out and rinse them really well. Okay, so it's been a couple hours. We let the cucumbers and onions sit in salt in the refrigerator for 2 hours. Let me show you what it looks like. See how bright that color is? They're kind of shriveled up. So there's a lot of juice in here, so I'm going to drain them and then rinse them really well with cold water. Alright, so this recipe only calls for the salt that you use to put to soak the cucumbers and onions in. You rinse them, and they've absorbed enough salt for the rest of the recipe. So now what we'll get started is the brine. And so I'm going to just half the recipe because I don't have the full amount of cucumbers and onions, so I'm just going to half the recipe. So I need a cup of sugar. 2 tablespoons of mustard seed. We'll do 1 tablespoon since we're halving. I'm just going to put all of this together because we're going to put it in the brine and cook it together. 1 teaspoon turmeric. We need a teaspoon of celery seed, which is good because I think that's about all I got left is 1 teaspoon. That's the end of that. We're going to do half a teaspoon of ginger because it calls for a full teaspoon. And then a half teaspoon of peppercorns. And then we're going to do 1.5 cups of white vinegar. I got a really big pan out, but I'm going to switch and do a smaller one since we're doing half of this recipe. So we're going to cook all of the vinegar and all of the sugar and seasonings together to a boil until the sugar dissolves, and then we're going to add the cucumbers and onions into it. While that's cooking, I am going to kind of sterilize my jars. I got water going in my big pot back here, my canning pot. And so I'm thinking I might have 3 pints. I've got 3 jars I'm prepping, so we'll see. And earlier I said I didn't think that you didn't have to do pickle crisp with these. I read through the recipe again, and you can add it. It's optional. We're definitely going to add it because I don't like mushy pickles. Oop, we're at a boil. So I'm going to add my cucumbers and onions now. Look at that color. Isn't that crazy? So I got to bring these back to a boil, and then they will be ready to pack into the jars. Alright, so now we're going to just hot pack these into the jars. Because I prepped 3. I may not get 3. I'll be happy if I get 2. So these look and smell amazing. Let me add the pickle crisp to the bottom of the jars. And this will just help them keep that nice crispy little bite to them. I'm going to leave this out in case we need it. Alright, so I'm going to actually strain to put the pickles in there first, and then we'll add brine on top of it. So I need a 1/2 inch of headspace. Good. And good. Okay, so I'm going to burp these, get all my air bubbles out. So I'm going to wipe my lids off, my rims off. This is going to be very sticky, so the rims of the jars definitely need to be wiped down. They are very hot. Okay. And then you're going to tighten it finger tight. And I'm going to put these in the canner for 10 minutes after it starts boiling. So I'm going to go ahead and drop those in, and when it starts to boil, then we'll set our timer. Okay, so the bread and butter pickles are at a rolling boil now. Alright, our timer just went off for our pickles, so I'm going to go ahead and get those out. They look beautiful. the color. So pretty.
All right, guys. So it's been a couple of days since we actually made the bread butter pickles. Yeah. And we're gonna give them a try today. It's not one of my favorite pickles. I don't really care for them too much, but I did tell Jessie that I would try them because she made them. Lots of onions in here. My love. All right. Think it and sink it. It's not bad. I'm not a big fan of bread and butter pickles in general, mainly the store-bought ones, because they're always so sweet. And that's really not too sweet.
Yeah, they're not bad, they're good.
There's a little bit of an aftertaste.
Yeah, and I think that may be the extra pickle crisp that I added to see if we can make the pickle a little firmer. They're not really firmer. I don't know that it really made a difference.
Yeah, because a typical recipe, you said that one was optional. A typical recipe calls for an eighth of a
teaspoon for a pint jar. So.
And you put a quarter in, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
yes.
you doubled it.
Because we had talked about trying that this year on some of our pickles. Because even with the pickle crisp, they're still a little mushier than we like them.
So maybe doubling down is not a good idea.
What next? The next. I'm glad this was a small batch.
Yeah.
So the next time I make them, I will put the recommended amount in them. But otherwise, they're actually not bad.
I'm gonna try some of the onions too.
Yeah, and this is the first time I've ever made bread and butter.
And they really are pretty. Like
they're beautiful pickles.
Mm-hmm. I actually like the onions better than the pickles. Like I could see that on a a sausage dog or something like that. Oh my gosh, not bad for somebody who doesn't like bread and butter pickles. I approve.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, that's it. Hope that you guys are inspired to try some bread and butter pickles, even if you don't like them. Try them. You might like them. Do a small batch, and just remember that in your chaos, stay open. Thanks for watching, guys.